And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Three Girls in Love channel. My name is Joseph Darling. We have so many things to talk about today, as always, and we're going to react to the Roommates. Rebecca Lynn. What's it called? Man, this is going to be really good. Rebecca Lynn Popes calls out superficial dating. Okay, so on this channel, we talk about relationships, we talk about female nature, we talk about, we don't talk much about dating, and the reason why is because I'm against it, temporarily. So I'm going to explain, in terms of Three Girls in Love, you got to understand where I come from. I don't believe in one-on-one monogamy. That doesn't work, okay? People are trying it again and again and again and again. You can see from the failure rate of the amount of relationships that have been created by monogamy and how often it deteriorates, it doesn't work, okay? So now you can turn off this video, or you can actually just listen to what I'm going to say, reacting to what she's going to say about superficial dating. Because this is what's happening more and more these days as women go up in rank, okay, in terms of education, in terms of having money for themselves, in terms of not needing men's protection and provision. Let's hear what she has to say.
You need to be very careful about your own personal experiences. And I'll say this from my own perspective, because your brain adapts with each experience.
Okay, let's go and fix the sound here. All right, let's go.
You need to be very careful about your own personal experiences. And I'll say this from my own perspective, because your brain adapts with each experience.
That's great.
So what happens is that, and this is from my personal experience. I think I mentioned this before. I don't know if I said in the last interview, but I was single. I met a man who was a retired athlete.
I remember you told me. The one
Yes.
that one saying $5,000 on Chase?
No, that's a different one. But this guy, like, he was the flashy guy, okay? Like the cars, the...
Oh, let me just make sure that my face is not on her face, okay? Let's put it there. I would rather have it there. Alright, she's talking about a retired athlete. Okay, obviously this guy's rich and he's started dating her. Let's keep going.
Houses, everything. And what men need to understand is there's guys like this who shine women on. Like they literally lay it on thick. And in that one experience, I dated him for several months and I started to not like him because he wasn't authentic enough for me. All that flashy stuff is fine to get your attention, but then there's got to be substance and it's got to be like more for me, you know? And so I'm getting to know him and I'm just kind of like, this ain't it, you know?
You know what actually happened? She made another interview about a year ago, and I watched that video full through and through. This one I haven't watched at all. Well, actually, I took a look at it. Anyway, but what she was saying in the other interview was that she was asking that athlete, where is this going? And the reason why she was asking that was because he was basically playing multiple girls at the same time and wasn't interested in commitment whatsoever. Okay, that's why he wasn't authentic. That's why it wasn't going nowhere, and that's why she wasn't interested. She probably might have been more interested if he was focused on her and he wanted her, etc., etc.
And I had a guy best friend, who I'll never forget. I broke up with that guy, or stopped seeing him, and I met somebody else, and he was like an engineer and like a professor at like a college. And we went on a date, and I came home, and my best guy friend calls me, how'd the date go? Da-da-da. And I was like, he's all right. You know, he drives a Ford Explorer. He's da-da-da. And my friend got really quiet, like, what?
Yeah.
And he was like, why did you just say that? Yeah. He's like, that's not how you talk. That is not you. Yeah. No, what is going on with you? And I literally, he checked me, right? So he checked me, and it was like, just that, with one experience of this shiny, flashy, over-the-top guy, I had taken my preferences and my standards and put them here to say, I deserve.
Yeah. So, Rebecca, let's pause real quick. Let's remember the question I asked you, because I don't want to get lost in this. Let me tell you a story that happens in Atlanta.
Okay.
What happens in Atlanta is that a lot of these guys with money, they, like you said, laid on thick to a lot of different women.
Yes.
But the thing
I was like one of 10 for that guy.
And so what happens is, a lot of times it's just sex and just casual things. But what happens is the women They think that this guy really wants to be with them.
Yes.
So now it sets a whole new standard. So
He never wanted to be with me.
So now you have a whole bunch of guys making all these women think I deserve baller or bust.
This is my new standard of.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. So when women are in their teenage years, late teenage years, and in their 20s, they basically, you know how it is. You know what you've been through, okay? If you are 6 and above, because that's usually you'll have access to men, right? And guys will try to woo you, and they'll try to get you into bed. That's the only thing that guys are interested in during that time frame. Now, you might say that, no, I had some guys that were interested in me during that age frame as well, that wanted commitment and that wanted me for the long term, etc. Yeah, but those weren't the kind of guys you were looking for, and you were rejecting them, and you were just like, no, I don't want long-term commitment right now. I'm like 20 years old. I'm at the best prime of my life. Like, why would I get married now, right? So we've got an issue because women, during that time frame, when they're having fun, when they're having so much attention, and so many guys that are literally trying to woo them, the best guys, according to these to all women, they're unavailable, and they don't want to be them commitment wise for the long term. And we got to understand that women naturally gravitate towards the bad guys, towards the guys that don't want commitment, towards the guys that are sleeping around with multiple women. Why? Because they have attention. Because there's competition. Because women are hypergamous by nature. So they want the guy that they can't have very often. Because all women gravitate towards the top 20% men by default. That's how women function. All of women want the top 20% guys. In this woman says that all women want the 1% guys. So, she's correct. So what I'm saying is, we have a problem with dating. What they're bringing up is that women are dating all of these higher tier guys that don't want commitment whatsoever from this girl, because these high tier guys are playing multiple women all at the same time and have no intention to be with this woman long term. But in the beginning, they might say things that it sounds like they might want to be with that girl long term. And the fact is, those guys might actually want to be with a girl long time. And so they're telling all these different girls all of the same things, and basically screwing all of these women over, because the guy probably just wants to choose one out of those 10 eventually, when he wants to settle down in 5 to 10 years' time. Do you understand what I mean? Like, guys want depth, but they don't want depth with someone that's gonna give them a very, very hard time. And so that's kind of how these bad guys are vetting all of these multiple girls. Who here gives me a hard time? And I'm going to choose the girl that is not giving me a hard time. Well, guess what? If he's dating 10 different girls, all of these girls are going to give him a hard time. So that's why he's going to keep going through all of these women all of the time. And basically, he's going to get screwed over because he's setting the standard for himself of what he wants in terms of, in terms of a woman being feminine, in terms of a woman being beautiful, in terms of a woman being all of that. Very often, those rich guys, or those guys that are laying it on thick, like they're talking about here, they are going to also be screwed over. It's not the girls only that are getting screwed over. The guys are setting up the bar for them so much that they are not able to fall in love. That sucks for the guys too, by the way. It's not just for the women. So the men, because they've played this game for a very long time, when they're 30, 35, now they want, the feminine virgin, blah, 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 who's amazing in bed as well, right? And that's kind of the problem that's going on with guys that are rich. And that's kind of the guys that we're promoting to you on the 3 Girls in Love channel. So that's the guys. But for the women's side, women have, when they date around, they also increase the standard like she's talking about here. in such a way that they want the guys that are high tires, but these guys weren't really interested in them for the long term anyway. And then once the women now become 30 years old, now they want to settle down because they've had their fun. Now they're basically looking at all these guys that are interested in them, and it's not longer the high tire guys. There's no high tire guys anymore once they're 30, pretty much. Okay, 30, 35. There's a very minimal amount of guys that are interested in them. Not only that, but the women have become masculine because of their dating in the past. They used to be feminine, and they attracted the best kind of guys, short term. And then they become masculine, and now they only attract feminine guys. So that's a problem.
But I just got to find the guy who's the good guy and all the other intrinsic stuff that I was missing with this guy. Not realizing, back to apples and oranges. This is not boyfriend material. This is not husband material. This is that F-boy dude that you just play with. But that's not how women think. They don't think like that. So they don't categorize these guys like this. And this is what I saw in matchmaking. They're coming to me wanting that guy with all the other intrinsic values of being faithful and loving and kind and all the other stuff they're looking for that wasn't in that guy.
Wow.
So you see what she's talking about? Okay, so just background for her. She was a matchmaker, okay? A professional matchmaker, and she saw all these rich women and rich men coming to her and telling her what they were looking for. But basically, all of the ones that were coming to her were basically screwed over, and that's why they're coming to a matchmaker, because their love lives suck, okay? So our matchmaking is going to be different, obviously. We don't have a matchmaking service right now, and don't intend to have one either, because there's no guys that have received a stamp of approval yet from the Men of High Value community. Okay, it's a very small community yet, but in 1 year's time, 18 months time, we're going to basically begin to roll out the Men of High Value, and they're gonna be financially fit, okay, financially stable. They're gonna have their financial foundation, and they're gonna be able to provide for 3 women and be committed to them for life. How do we know that they're committed to them? We know that because they are voluntary celibate now. Okay? And they're practicing semen retention now. All right? That's one of the cool things, the cool aspects that we do on the Men of High Value channel. We prepare them massively for success and helping them to not focus on women too early, because men suck. And they need a period of time when they prepare themselves to be with women, so that women who are seeking those high tire guys are able to get the high tire guys that are good, that are committed, that are confident because of their financial situation, but also because they understand female nature as taught on this channel and on the Men of High Value channel. So that's going to be the norm and what's going to happen eventually. But it's going to take time, though. Because it takes time to prepare these guys.
And I'm like, you're looking for Superman. That doesn't exist. And if it does exist, he doesn't want you. He has too many options, and he doesn't want you. Or he's been married for 20 years because he got locked down a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but that is a real experience, to where the human mind has the ability to have like one experience, and now that becomes the standard. That becomes the new norm. Yeah. And if I had not had a friend.
Okay, just mentioning that briefly here, that becomes the standard for femininity. We got to remember that femininity is not able to control their thoughts, their emotions, and their behaviors. So when a woman has like, once she's experienced something, she doesn't want to go back. Okay, that's a feminine trait. The fact that you've raised the standard and now you don't want to backtrack because you've progressed to this certain level, and then going back and lowering your standard after that becomes ridiculous. Women are created in such a way that their environment, once they're in an environment, they don't want to go back to a different environment. That would create absolute hell for them, because they had somewhat heaven, and then that's their standard for the moving forward, right? Just as when I explained about financials in a 3 Girls in Love relationship, the way that it functions, the girls obviously are not working. Why would they work when the man has a lot of money? That doesn't make any sense, right? So the man has to be rich. He has to be financially stable in order for him to qualify for these 3 girls in love. Of course. However, he gives them luxury money. And then he gives them a certain lifestyle, but he keeps it down in the beginning. Even though he's got tons of money, he wants to make sure that he always retains that amount of money forever. So he has to be wise with the expenditures of the family. Which means that in the beginning, he's going to keep it somewhat low in terms of how much he spends on the family and the luxuries that he spends on the 3 girls. However, to make sure that he never ever goes down in terms of lifestyle, that it continuously increases and goes up in terms of lifestyle, because feminine nature doesn't ever want to backtrack. They don't want to settle for less. Like, we had this lifestyle before. Why are we going back to this lifestyle? Now they begin to feel like he's controlling, and he's basically doing things with the finances that they don't like, and he's not able to provide for us anymore, and it creates insecurity for a woman. That's how she's designed. So it's more of a feminine trait. Feminine guys as well. A masculine guy doesn't go to a matchmaker. Why would he do that? Now, he might do that in 3 Girls in Love because there's very few girls that want three Girls in Love lifestyle in the beginning. Eventually, society is going to consist of 80% 3 Girls in Love. That's where we're taking it. But for now, that's going to be very tough. And so there's very few women that come into this circle of influence of 3 Girls in Love. Is where it's at. But guys, this is absolutely amazing. The fact that women, they don't understand yet. You don't understand yet that when you are establishing yourself in 3 Girls in Love and you say, I want 3 Girls in Love, rich guys, they'd rather have 3 8s than 1 10. Do you understand what I mean? Or they'd rather have 3 7s than 1 9. How does that work? It's simply because there's very few women that desire 3 Girls in Love. So that makes you stand out amongst the crowd. Simply the fact of you believing in the principles that are taught on this channel, that elevates your value in a guy's eyes immediately, because it's 3 Girls in Love. And that will bring a man's joy and motivation to the nth degree, while at the same time protecting you and providing for you all of the things that you desire from a man of high value. Just wanted to say that out there.
To check me about it, it's like, you're that little girl from Ohio. Yeah. Like, cut it out. Yeah. Do not start acting like this, because he'd been in Atlanta for a long time. Yeah. And he was like, Rebecca, no, please do not turn into that girl. Man,
and the sad reality is I meet so many girls like that in Atlanta, and they have 1 or 2 experiences with a rapper or an athlete, and it creates this whole new standard for men. And then, like you said, they reject so many great men who would be great matches for them because they want, hood Jesus.
Okay, hold on a second. This is crazy, but you got to hear this. What happens when a girl has dated these guys, but it could be any guy that rejects her? Any guy that rejects her because he has multiple options. This is what's going to happen. He's going to reject. He moves on. The woman now is so sad, so miserable, so upset that he left her, because now he's the one who has the power. He's the one that has the control in the relationship. Obviously, there's no relationship anymore, but there still is a relationship because they were emotionally involved. They were sexually involved with each other, and the woman now is still having a relationship with that guy, even though he's long gone. It could have been years since they were together. And now these women are coming for matchmaking, whatever, and they're trying to settle down, which they will eventually. That's what women do. They settle down because their wealth was between the ages of 18 and 22, and now they've used up that wealth. They spent it on partying, drinking, casual sexual relationships. Now they're masculine and not as beautiful as they used to be. So they're becoming poorer and poorer in terms of their bargaining of what they can receive in terms of the high value man that they can have. But what was I going to say? So you've got Okay, so yes, they enter now into the settling relationship where they get this guy that's understanding, that's good, that's trying to help her out and makes her feel comfortable and secure and equal. Basically, what women end up dating are guys that are feminine. So they seek out the basically their lesbian relationship in a guy, because women are designed to have two other best friends forever with them, and for them to have a high value man with them. But if they can't get the high value man, they'll take a guy that's a mix. So he's kind of high value, not really, but he's also somewhat a girl. Okay, so he's feminine because he makes sure that my security is there, and my my. And then what happens? She's in that marriage, in that relationship, and then this guy does not turn her on anymore. By default, because it's monogamy. So in that relationship now, she's gonna look at this guy and she doesn't want to be in that relationship anymore. And who is she gonna be thinking about? She's gonna be thinking about the best guy that rejected her in her past. And she's gonna pine for that relationship even though she's in a marriage. But she's not going to talk about it, because if she talks about it, then the guy who she's with is going to freak out because he's feminine. He's going to, I don't know, and not understanding female nature, he's probably going to cause a lot of problems because of his insecurities and his low self-esteem. So she doesn't want to talk about her past. She doesn't want to talk about her issues, and she doesn't want to talk about the fact that she's not interested in him, her husband, at all. But because that's the only thing she has, and she can't get anyone else because that was the best she could get at that time, and the person that she doesn't understand this very often logically, because it's all about emotion. But if she does get a divorce, she doesn't understand the fact that she's probably going to get someone that's worse than the guy that she's with. Most of the time, that's what happens, because she has less, again, on the bargaining table to bring than she had in the past. The older a woman gets, the less she has to bargain with in the dating aspect, in the dating pool. It's good to know. The biggest chips on the table when I'm talking about poker, okay, the most you have to bargain with is when you're between the ages of 18 and 22. 25, you still have some bargaining chips, okay? But moving beyond that, it's going to get tough. It's going to get hard unless you give yourself a chance by working continuously on your beauty, on your femininity, making sure you stand away from career. Like, get away from careers as much as possible, or else you're going to get a feminine guy that's going to give you problems. As a woman, you want a masculine guy who provides for you, who is provision and protection. And you need to need him and be dependable on him so that he becomes the man, so that he has the power in the relationship. As long as he has the power in the relationship, you will look up to him and you will fall in love. This is what's amazing. I just have to mention this real quick. Oh my gosh. When you enter into a relationship and it's with a guy that's feminine, but he's kind of masculine, and then he becomes attached to the men of high value movement. And then he sees what this is all about. And he sees his potential and what he could achieve and the motivation of 3 Girls in Love. Even though you might be in monogamy. Let's say you're already in monogamy and you can't do anything about it. And you want this guy, but he doesn't really turn you on anymore. And you're wondering if you should leave. Well, guess what? In 3 Girls in Love, if he gets the motivation of 3 Girls in Love, then you can actually prepare him for it and agree with him. Okay, because you're in a relationship together, you're trying to make it work. Agree with him that if he increases the living standard towards this, not your living standard, but he increases his financials to a certain level, then you guys together can live 3 Girls in Love, as long as he gets his stamp of approval. He needs that stamp of approval from the men of high value community. Once he gets that, guess what's going to happen? He's going to become a man of high value. And the fact that you're sharing him with 2 other best friends forever is actually going to automatically cause you to be in love with him. because he'll have the power in the relationship more so than he's ever had in your relationship before. And no longer are you going to be thinking about those past guys that you've been thinking about for years. This is for the guys that are already involved in a relationship. I mean, for the women, obviously, who are already involved in relationships. For single women, it's a completely different story. But not really. You could actually choose a guy and tell him, hey, check out Three Girls in Love, check out this Men of High Value stuff, and tell me what you think, and maybe over time you're interested in this, and then I'll be interested in you, obviously, because that's what happens naturally when a man has Three Girls in Love. It's amazing. It takes women surrender, but once she surrendered to it, wow, it becomes amazing. Just want to say that.
I agree. And one of the things that was also I became aware of when my friend was kind of checking me about this is that you literally think that you deserve that just by who you are. So there's this, because all you did was be pretty to get that man's attention. You didn't have to have, if you're a beautiful woman, you didn't have to have anything else going on for you because they don't care about those things. That dude, the player dude, does not care about anything else. Yeah. So now, just being a pretty girl, I deserve this. That is so flawed, and it is so jacked up. And if you take that experience at 25, and then you start only dating in that direction, well, then like you say, by the time she's meeting some really good guys, she's completely dismissing them.
And then you add into the social media generation where you maybe be 20 years old and they're sliding in your DMs in mass, sending 100 DMs a day. So now you got a DM from, freaking, J.R. Smith or, some super celebrity. Now all of a sudden that feeds your value. I remember there was this, and we got to get back to the advice for the guys, but I remember there was this girl on Tinder and she had a picture of her next to Odell Beckham, smiling.
That was her pick.
And her caption was, "I effed Odell Beckham. Get on my level." So because,
are you serious?
I wish I would have saved that picture. But so she literally was under the idea because I had sex with this guy. Now I'm on this top-notch chick level, and you guys gotta get on my level. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, what do guys think when they see Instagram posts like that? They think, yeah, I'm not interested in her at all. Like, so now there might be guys out there who want a quick sexual experience with her, but guys who think long-term commitment, no interest whatsoever in that girl. None whatsoever. Just so that women understand that. That's why she's freaking out, this girl here.
The world is changing, Rebecca.
That is crazy, but it's real. Mm-hmm. I mean, what you're talking about is very real. Now, back to the fellas' advice. So this is why I said you have to mind your experiences, because what happens is that men chase girls like that, the baddies, who've had those experiences with those tricking off dudes, and now you're chasing behind the girl, but you're not on that level. Whew. So now here comes rejection. Here comes you feeling like you're not good enough. Here comes affecting your self-esteem when you're really a really great guy, but now you sleep with one baddie.
If you get lucky.
Okay, that's not good at all. Okay, guys in general shouldn't be dating girls. They shouldn't be dating girls. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm just going to explain some briefly here about what I think about dating in general. Why should we not date? Did I say in the beginning of the video that we shouldn't date? Okay, go to their video and watch the whole thing. Watch the whole interview. It's 1 hour and 40 minutes. You'll learn some things about female nature watching that, but understand in the background of your head, monogamy doesn't work. Monogamy doesn't work because it doesn't by default. Okay, so why then is dating bad? Dating is bad because as a woman, you become emotionally involved. You become emotionally involved. You don't want to become emotionally involved with anyone that is not your lifelong committed partner for life. I repeat, for life, because that's what's crucial. The best aspect would be if you grew up, remained a virgin until the age of 18, and then came into this society of Three Girls in Love and Men of High Value, and found or was raised with your two best friends forever, okay, in the same age as them, blah, 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 and then you come to basically wanting Three Girls in Love at that time. Now you secure yourself a man of high value who has practiced voluntary celibacy, he's practiced semen retention, he has massive amounts of financial stability so that he can provide for 3 women and children, okay? That is the optimal setup. That's where we're bringing society to in the future. That's the only way we can create heaven on earth. Because if we do that, then those women will never have had any emotional involvement with anyone else, and they've kept their value extremely high. 18-year-olds that are virgins, they hardly exist these days. But if a woman managed to do that, oh my gosh, every man of high value is going to want her. So she's going to have a list of choices that she can have. Because she's got the wealth, the beauty wealth, okay? Men have the money wealth and, being handsome and being, the kind of man that women want. But then women being the kind of women that men want. That's it. 18 years old with her two others, best friends forever, being virgins, unburdened, feminine, protected by her father, by their fathers, right? In order to enter into this. That's what the future has to hold. Right now, that's not going to happen that way. Okay, very often. There's very few girls that are 18 that are virgins that have grown up like that, being protected. Most girls are not being protected by their fathers because the fathers don't understand female nature. In 50 years, they will. Maybe it'll take 100 years, okay? Who knows? But for now, what we want is for women right now to stop dating immediately. Because you're emotionally involving yourself with the guy, and the moment you involve yourself emotionally, that's going to overpower your rational remembrance. Okay, you'll know all the stuff that I've taught on this channel, but then once the guy comes along and he's like not interested in 3 Girls in Love, maybe he's feminine, who knows? If he's masculine, he'll always be interested in 3 Girls in Love. If he's feminine, he's going to be like, no, I only want you, baby. And then once he does that, then you are emotionally involved because you guys are maybe having sex, etc. What's going to happen? Then you're going to follow your emotions. Okay? It's better to completely stay away from dating until you get your man of high value. But make sure then that you're part of this community, that you comment on my videos, that you share and like this stuff, that you DM me on Men of High Value saying that you want to be part of the 3 Girls in Love society and community, and that we as a community, as Men of High Value, have something to move forwards to because we know there's women waiting. We've got to progress. We got to be fast, right? Very often men are like, will there be 3 girls at the end of the tunnel? Because there's all the girls that I talk to are not interested in 3 Girls in Love. Like, that's not a thing. They're going to come. I know you guys are going to come because I'm going to have amazing guys ready for you. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Don't date. Stop dating. Don't get emotionally involved. Because you're going to be, your train is going to be taken off the rails. I tell guys not to date as well. Voluntary celibacy for a time. And we're talking 1.5 years, 2.5 years. Okay, and that entire time, what should you be doing? Well, the fact that you've completely taken away the dating aspect, that's a huge burden lifted off your shoulders. You don't have to say yes to any guys. Wow, that's nice. You could just reject all of them. Or if you think that they're cute and interesting, then you can tell them, hey, check out Men of High Value. And if you're interested, this is my DM. Okay, this is my Instagram. You can text me, but I'll block you if you're not interested in 3 Girls in Love. If you do that, then more guys are going to be understanding of the principles and they'll understand female nature and you'll have an amazing lifestyle. Do you understand what I mean? But if you turn towards monogamy and dating and sleeping around, your value is going down exponentially, unfortunately. And a lot of women are ending up single. No, that's just the reality and fact of life. The best time to secure a guy is between the ages of 18 and 22. And then, but no matter if you're 90 years old, okay, I'm just being an extreme here. I'm sure I could find a 100-year-old man of high value, okay, who, I don't know, it's a bit extreme. Let's say 50 instead. 60 years old, okay, I could find a man of high value who's 70 years old, 65, that's rich, and that desires 3 Girls in Love, and that desires amazing women that are beautiful, and that, for their age, and that are feminine and unburdened, because that's the only thing that they want. that will create an amazing lifestyle anyway for the rest of your years. But imagine now for just 1.5 years, 2 years, okay, 2.5 years that it takes for you to get your man of high value. Once you secure the right man of high value, understand that you've got 50 to 60 to 70 years with those relationships, the man of high value and your other 2 best friends forever, where you can live luxuriously for the rest of your life and simply enjoy life, enjoy family lifestyle, travel around, do your own thing, and work on your talents and your hobbies instead of your career, because your career is ridiculous. Why would you want a career if you can be provided for luxuriously for the rest of your life? So when you look at that, 2.5 years of no dating maybe isn't that bad, because 50, 60 to 70 years where you're going to have an amazing lifestyle for life, and your next generation, your kids, are going to be absolutely amazing. This is the 3 Girls in Love channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Hope you had a fantastic video. I'll see you in the next one.